Hey guys, it's me Vario. If you are tired of fixing yourself, listen to this. I want to start with a thought that bothered me for a long time. We are living in the easiest time in history to access self-improvement. Open YouTube, someone is teaching you how to be more productive, how to wake up at 5 a.m., how to become mentally stronger, how to heal your trauma, how to stop overthinking, how to become the best version of yourself. It's everywhere, so here's my question. If we are surrounded by more advice than ever before, why do so many people feel more exhausted than ever? Why do so many people feel like they are constantly falling behind? Why do so many people secretly feel like they are falling alive? I think I know why. Because somewhere along the way, self-improvement stopped being something we do, and it become someone we have to be. A few years ago, I had a friend who finally took a vacation after months of non-stop work, 5 days off, no meetings, no deadlines, no responsibilities, the kind of break most people dream about. The first day was great. He slept in, ordered food, watched movies, went for long walks. But on the fourth night, he called me and he sounded anxious. I asked him what happened. He said, I feel like I wasted my vacation. I was confused. You did everything you wanted to do, and he said something I will never forget. I know, but I didn't accomplish anything. Think about that. He spent months being exhausted, finally got the rest he needed, and somehow even resting became another thing he felt he needed to succeed at. That's when I realized something. A lot of us don't actually know how to rest anymore. We know how to stop working, but we don't know how to stop performing. Have you ever noticed that even your hobbies have goals now? Reading has to make you smarter. Travel has to make you grow. Meditation has to increase your productivity. Even relaxing has become a project. And when everything becomes a project, you slowly start feeling like a project too. Something that always needed improvement, something that always needed fixing, something that is never quite enough. Here's an observation that might sound strange. I don't think most people are exhausted because they are lazy. I think they are exhausted because they are trying too hard to become better, and not because growth is bad, but because they never stop. There is always another habit, another goal, another weakness to fix, another version of themselves to chase, another. Eventually you stop living your life, you start managing it, and the saddest part, most people don't even realize they are doing it. They think they are being positive. But sometimes what looks like positivity is actually self-rejection. Let me explain. You got hurt and immediately tell yourself, don't be negative. You feel overwhelmed and immediately tell yourself other people have it worse. You feel bad. You feel sad and immediately tell yourself, I should be grateful. It sounds healthy, it sounds mature, but what you are really saying is, this feeling isn't welcoming here. And I think that's where a lot of suffering begins, not with the emotions itself, but with the war against the emotion. Here's something I noticed after a breakup years ago. The heartbreak wasn't actually the hardest part. The hardest part came later. When I started judging myself for still being heartbroken, I wasn't just sad. I was angry that I was sad. I wasn't just grieving. I was frustrated that I wasn't healing fast enough. And suddenly I was carrying two burdens: the pain itself and the shame of feeling the pain. I see this everywhere now. People don't just experience emotion anymore. They evaluate them and measure them and track them and optimize them. We have timelines for healing, deadlines for grief, expectations for recovery, as if emotions are supposed to follow a schedule. Imagine breaking your leg. No one would expect you to run next week. No one would call you weak for needing time to heal. But when it comes to emotional pain, we expect immediate results. We expect ourselves to bounce back instantly. And when we don't, we think something is wrong with us. But what if nothing is wrong with you? What if you are simply experiencing what it means to be human? One of the most surprising things I've learned is this: not every emotion needs to be fixed. Some emotions need to be felt. That's it. But what if nothing is wrong with you? What if you are simply experiencing what it means to be human? One of the most surprising things I've learned is this: not every emotion needs to be fixed. Some emotions need to be felt. That's it. We are so used to solving problems that we try to solve sadness. We are trying to solve loneliness. We try to solve disappointment. But emotions are not always problems. Sometimes they are messages. Sometimes they are evidence that something mattered. Your sadness means you care. Your grief means you love. Your disappointment means you hoped. Your loneliness means connection matters to you. Imagine if you could erase every painful emotion from your life. No heartbreak, no guilt, no disappointment, no loneliness, no fear. At first, that sounds amazing. But think about what would disappear with them. Love, meaning, courage, hope, attachment. Everything that makes life deeply human will disappear. And maybe that's the real problem. We've been taught that happiness is the goal, but I don't think happiness is what most people are missing. I think what most people are missing is peace. Because happiness comes and goes, peace stays. Peace is being okay on the days you are not okay. Peace is knowing you don't have to earn your worth. Peace is not panicking every time a difficult emotion shows up. Peace is struck. Peace is trusting that a bad day doesn't mean a bad life. I think that's what maturity actually looks like. Not becoming someone who never struggles, but becoming someone who stops fighting every struggle. These days, whenever I have a difficult week, I try something different. I stop asking, how do I fix myself? And I ask, what would I say to a friend who felt this way? And every single time the answer surprises me, because the kindness I naturally give to others is the kindness I rarely give myself. Maybe you would never tell your friend to get over their grief faster. Maybe you would never shame your friend for feeling lost, and yet you do it to yourself every day. So tonight, before you go to sleep, I don't want you to become more positive. I don't want you to wake up tomorrow with perfect motivation. I don't want to convince you that life is easy, because it isn't. Sometimes life is confusing. Sometimes it's lonely. Sometimes it's disappointing. Sometimes it hurts. And that's part of being alive. What I hope you remember is something much simpler. You are not a machine. You are not a productivity project. You are not a self-improvement assignment. You are a human being. And human being you will get tired. Human beings get lost. Human beings doubt themselves. Human beings struggle. And the goal was never to become someone who feels nothing. The goal was never to become positive at all times. The goal was never to eliminate every uncomfortable emotion. Maybe the goal is simply this: to stop treating yourself like a broken thing that needs constant repair, and start treating yourself like someone worthy of patience while they are still growing. Because sometimes the most healing thing you can do is stop trying to fix yourself for a moment and just let yourself be human. Here's Vario, it's me. See you next time. Till then, bye.